What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we are back today with another episode of the modded Enterprise D from Fanhome. Now, this episode gets us back to where we were before I decided to start modding it. Now, obviously, I haven't done anything with the engineering section. I am still practicing the curved panel windows. It is a very difficult thing to do, and still practicing that. And so for this one, it's kind of like a big deal. Like, we stripped this thing down, all the way down to its panels. Everything was taken out. All of the windows are resined. We've colored. We've done all of the things that we need to do. Now, we're going to get caught up, but to get caught up, we need to do light blocking. Now, this model is well known for its light bleed. There is nothing you can do with the stock parts that will help it. There's nothing. If you want this model to turn on and you not be embarrassed by it when it is turned on for your friends when you come over after you spent a couple $1,000s and a couple of years building it, no matter what you are doing, I recommend this mod for your ship. So, it is very simple. You're going to need to pick up a pack of Uhu Patafix. This stuff is glorious. It works amazing, and it basically fills in every single gap that we need. And because it's a putty that is meant to be reused and pulled off and restuck elsewhere, you kind of can't mess this up. It doesn't leak through. It doesn't pinch through the cracks. You really kind of can't mess this up. This, in addition to using our electrical tape and our flat black paint on all of our windows and escape pods, will do an extraordinarily effective job at blocking all of our light leaks that might happen on this model. Now, I am not going to show you guys the assembly process. I've already shown you my struggle. It does take a minute to be able to do this and do it properly. And I have found that it is easier for me to do all of this, getting these panels assembled, without having to worry about, like, oh god, I'm taking too much time to record. So as you can see, we have a much wider out camera. I want to be able to take my time and put together these pieces. So when it comes to getting our Uhu down in to our grooves, that's where we're going to be spending a majority of our time, instead of watching me going, oh god, no, man, damn it, this is hard. Putting these panels together sucks. We have a lot of them to put together, but when you're doing one at a time per stage, it's really not that bad. But when we're doing like 3 in a row like this, it can be a little time consuming. So we're going to be focusing primarily on getting the Uhu put in and how we get it put into place. Now, what you're going to need for this mod is, in addition to black electrical tape and flat black paint, you're going to need to pick up the Uhu Patafix. This is about $8-9 depending on the time of the month on Amazon. It's super easy, and once again, like I said, you kind of can't mess this up. You're going to need a flashlight. I like to use just a flashlight and flash behind after I get my panel assembled. I just like to be able to look and see if there is actually any light bleed coming through from what I can see. And then, of course, I'm going to hook up my electronics for every single stage to make sure that my LEDs are working and that there's not any light bleed happening from that as well. If I have to remove a panel, I will. So that's how that's going to roll. And then from there, other than that, you're going to need, I recommend like clay sculpting tools. I'm going to be using silicone brushes. It's what I have. I could have picked up some clay sculpting tools. Totally fine. Look them up. I recommend either or. I like these because the way they're just kind of soft, and it feels like when you're pushing the thing in, it's not like you're not jamming anything in and might accidentally squeeze it through any one of our hull plate lines. And then beyond that, that's pretty much what we're going to need for this mod. So you guys have already seen how I apply, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the first whole panel that we're going to assemble. And as you can see here, you have behind here there is black electrical tape, and that's just directly behind all of our escape pods. All right, and then what I've noticed here is if you look back behind, there is just, sorry if I get a little bit of that light through, but you can see the far end to our left, the window there has got a little bit of light bleed coming through there. So, yeah, it's, let's see if I can get that. There it is. So, yeah, it's pretty pronounced. So what I'm going to do, what I've found, instead of like, because in order to fix this with paint, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to apply 3 coats of paint. That's not going to happen. So what we're going to do is real quick, I'm just going to grab a piece of black electrical tape. I'm going to cover that up, and then we'll come back when it comes time to assemble the panel. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up this flashlight, and I apologize if there's any flash that comes through. But I have this directly behind the panel, and behind the window where we had the light bleed. And I just put some black electrical tape right behind there. And yeah, there's zero light bleed coming through there. And I'm just going to go ahead and check all of my escape pods. We're all set. Okay, so very simply, all I'm going to do for this next stage is basically install this panel right here. Very simply, but in order to get the light bleed and make sure that everything is all taken care of properly, when we get this panel installed, we're going to flip it over, and when we come back, you will see exactly where I'm going to lay the Uhu. We'll be back. Alright, so I got that first hull panel put in, and let me tell you, it turned out really good. Like, I'm doing a much better job this time around of, well, we'll see if that affects anything. Oh, we're good. I'm doing a much better job this time around of getting these hull panels assembled because I'm not live streaming my episodes, basically, is what they wound up being a lot of the time. And so, you know, I'm really taking my time. That was about 20 minutes worth of work, just getting that properly assembled and put in place. And this is actually a fairly simple window section, so there was no, like, wire routing to be done. So that's why we're choosing to do it this way. So now what I'm going to do, and this is very simple, I'm just going to take little pieces of this, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this around so I can see it. As much as I want to show you guys what I'm doing, I really need to see what I'm doing, and it's more important that this model gets built properly. So I'm going to take a little piece of this tube that I've created, and I'm going to use my pair of tweezers, and I'm just going to basically shove the tube down along the seam. And I'm going to line the entire area, focusing directly where connections are made. And for this, there is a seam overlap, so it's kind of an interesting place, like these, when you put the die cast, the middle ones. And I'm going to go over and next to the wires, so I'm not like going over the top of them. So these ones are a little different, but it's a good place to start the demonstration. So we have our Uhu stuck in there, and really that's about it. And this is for the sake of, there's really not a chance that much is going to get through here, but this is for the sake of. So I'm going to grab this ended one, and it's kind of like a weird, I don't know, shape, but this is my favorite one to use. And I'm just going to take it and just basically smash it in. Now, the beauty of this stuff, of the Uhu, is that it's really pliable. If you want to work it and get it really soft, you just can roll it in your hands for a second, and it will be really extraordinarily pliable. And if you make a mistake, you can take it off. It doesn't really actually, it sticks, but it doesn't stay. It's really no other way of putting it. So I'm going to get a little smaller of a brush here to get in the smaller. Oh, I kind of like this one. I haven't used this one yet. Oh. So this one is just a fine, let's see if I can find it. There it is. Just a very fine point brush. I'm really liking this one. Oh, well. Hello, my little friend. There we are. Very good. So yeah, you're just basically just smashing this stuff in there. Like, it doesn't need to be pretty on this side of the model, guys. Remember, this isn't what's seen. What you're doing is protecting what is being seen, and light block is so important. You can kind of see along the edge there where we've put it in. You just basically put it right along the inside of here. So now, I'm going to go ahead and get the next hull panel assembled, and we'll be back to do a proper light block for the next one. We'll be right back. Alright, so that hull panel is put into place. Now this one is going to need some help. I took a look before, and in between these two panels, it's pretty hefty. There's going to need to be some definite pieces of putty put in between here. So I'm just going to shove this down in between. And you don't need much, but don't be conservative, if that makes any sort of sense. Like, you want to get enough in there, and I'm actually just using my tweezers. They're perfectly shoving it down into that crevice. Ew, that's a gross word. But it's shoving it down in there perfectly. Just the way I want it. And just kind of taking a nice glop of it right there. Yep. Wrong channel. Split that in two. Let's split it in twine, as they say. I don't know who they are, though. If they say that, it's kind of a weird thing to say. Entwine, they say. And I'm going to grab a little bit more for right down here. Like I said, I'm not going to, if I have to order another pack, like, I'm going to be a little liberal here. Because I shine my flashlight in between, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, this one here would have been embarrassing, and it's like drop dead center of the ship. Like, I would have just been like, yeah, you know, that old Eagle Moss, they're out of business, you know, it's like, it's Eagle Moss. You know, then just be ashamed of it and never actually want to light it up. So, that's not the point of this. Because I can just build a non-lit up model, guys. Done that a couple times. I'm doing that one more time. So yeah, and all I'm doing is just shoving it down in there, and then I'm just using a tool. I don't care what tool, just a tool, anything that works, and just get it down into that crack. Wherever panels meet together, you're going to want to do that. Now, there is no light coming through from up here, but we do have light coming through here, and so what we're going to do, grab another tube here. So I'm basically just going to take it, put a nice little glob right there, nice little glob right there, right here, and then just kind of like, you'll see where the panel lines are supposed to go. Like, I'm not worrying too much about specifically showing you where it's going to go. Like, you'll know where they're supposed to go. So this one would have been easier to put from over here. Grab a little bit more there. Put it right here. And just work it in between the two. Remember, don't push too hard. Like, I haven't seen it yet where you can push it through the whole panels, and if you do, you can just probably scrape it off, no problem. But, you know, you don't need to be soft or gentle. Like, be conservative and gentle with the model over plastic pieces, but you know, like, even then, Like once everything's assembled, everything should be good. Don't obviously like pound down on the pieces, but yeah. And just like that. Making sure to get your stuff, like right here we got this post, so you want to make sure you're getting it down underneath there and just completely covering the gap where the panels meet. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and install this last hull panel section. Get caught up +1 because this is the one we assembled for the demonstration. And let me tell you, I am just super excited about getting back to where we were before all of this started with a little bit forward progress. I'm looking forward to turning this over and seeing a nice chunk of this hull done. So, I'm going to go and get this last hull piece put in, and we will be right back. Alright, so our very last hull panel is reassembled, and you guys, I am just super pleased. I have learned how to film this and build this at the same time, which is a super important step. I gotta say that, like, I've done a much better job of assembling these hull panels because I'm not rushing. Each one has taken me about 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the whole panel. And so, yeah, everything has gone together really nice. I got all my cable management back done again. I think I've kind of, like, some of my LEDs may be a little bit weird, but regardless. Now, for this whole panel, what we're going to do is all we're going to worry about is laying down some putty in between the two panels where they meet. Very simple. So I'm just going to grab a chunk, put it in right there. And then I'm going to grab a chunk and shove it in right there. And I'm going to grab, I think that's it. Now I'm going to grab my fine point brush and basically right up here at the front, I kind of went heavy up front. I need to get a big chunk of this underneath and in between the whole panel sections. I'm like really shoving a whole lot of this in between because you want to make sure you're getting it underneath right here. I'm going to do the same thing from over on the other side. So I'm just going to shove that down inside there until it won't let me push it down any further. Yeah, that's in there. That's really good. Really pleased. There we go. And I'm pushing hard, you guys. Like, don't be afraid. Like, this stuff does not hurt anything. So, now, grab a last little piece of this and just kind of roll a little bit of a tube there. And just going to very liberally push down. I'm being careful with the model. I'm being more careful with the model than I am with the putty. Once again, this is the back of the model. It does not need to be pretty, but you do want to make sure you're doing a thorough job. Okay, so now I'm just going to shove this down as much as I possibly can. The LEDs are right here, so I want to be careful. Test some LEDs and everything's all good to go. And just like that. So, we are all light blocked. And there are our hull panels. Our resined windows with the various colors and variations all put in place, and everything is all nice and taken care of. So now what I'm going to do real fast is I'm going to confirm that while watching my camera. I'm going to turn off my overhead and see if we got any light blocking going on while Kit scans away. So right here, in between those two is a little dot. That's good. That's good. So right here, take care of that spot real quick before we go. Good. There's a dot right there. We need to take care of that. There's a dot right there. Okay, I'm going to go take care of these spots real fast, and I will be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and stuffed some putty in there. There's still a little work that needs to be done. This one here, for whatever reason, I'm going to need to disassemble this panel, and I'm just going to go ahead and jam a whole bunch over in this corner. I don't want to disassemble right now. I'm kind of over it, if I'm being real. This has been about an hour and 15 minutes or so worth of work, and after about 2 hours on stream the other night of reassembling our hull panels, I'm just kind of over it, and basically, I'm going to take care of that off camera, as I like to say. So, this is a very cheap, cost-effective way of handling your light bleed issues. In the next episode, we are going to talk about what we're going to be doing for our next mod, and we're going to go ahead and assemble a couple more. We're actually going to start opening some stages, you guys. I want to go ahead and start filling in more of these hull panels, and so we're going to do a quick review of resining the windows and doing some installation, and just basically kind of like a quick review of all of the mods that we're going to be doing, and then we're going to be talking about what we're going to be doing for our next mod that's coming up next. That one is going to take some preparation, and I need to get some work done to get ready for that one. So, my friends, this has been an adventure taking this thing apart and getting it put back together, and I gotta say that with those resin windows, man, it just looks so good. Like, man, this model, I am now super pleased. Like, this is a very difficult model to build, one that requires a lot of patience. And I'm so happy that we've gotten it to the point where I'm super happy with the work that's being done. My friends, this has been a good one and an excellent addition to our mod set, one that we're going to be applying for every single stage going forward. So, that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me, watching me mod an extraordinarily expensive model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember to always live long and prosper.